Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the, probably third video in the Godzilla suit series. So far, what I wanted to go over is, this stage. So you've already got your template made, you followed the instructions from the Kaiju video, you followed my instructions on how to adjust it to fit your size in Inkscape, I'm sorry. And now you're to this stage where you've printed out the template that you are going to use, taped all the pieces together, and or just had pieces, all large pieces, and cut them out. And now you're to the stage where you want to get it onto a piece of foam. So what I'm using is about an inch thick piece of, what would you call it? Arts and crafts foam. I found a cheaper way of doing it is if you order a mattress topper that's about an inch thick, king sized. It's much more economical because a piece, this is, it's not that big, but it's like 20 bucks. Whereas if you get a king size mattress version of this, like size, it's 30 bucks. So you're getting way more foam, way more material to use than just this. So what I've done so far is that because I've already finished, well, I shouldn't say finished, I started working on an arm. So this is where I'm at so far on this arm. But this is just to show you the end product of what these will look like. This is the upper arm, this is the lower part of the arm. But, so what you do is after you get your template traced out over the foam, make sure that you keep track. If you notice, I have everything written out. This is A5, so I know, hey look, this is the piece A5 for the right arm. And then if you notice here, it says A4 because A4 is going to connect along this edge. And here, if you notice, these little dots and dashes, there are two different ways that we can use these to help you with your build. In the Kaiju 101 shop video that I saw, he likes to do dashes like this. They represent inward cuts. So if you were to take, let's say if this is the piece of foam, let's say if this is the foam right here, and you were going to cut in this way, in this direction, like that. You're cutting inwards. That's what those lines mean. And if you do a dot, and then a long dash, dot, long dash, dot, long dash, they would be cuts going out, like that. And that way, when you glue them together, it creates a nice kind of bend, and it bends them together. But let's see if I can find an arm, and I'll show you what I mean. Forgive the mess. I've been working on it quite a bit. So, here, this is a good example. This is the right arm I've got so far. So see these dashes? That's where they cut outwards. And if you notice, let me back up a little bit, it made this nice crease. So that's what those are for. So you have ones that create creases and they create ridges. And that's what those things do. So, now we're back to this stage. So, what I ended up doing is I cut these pieces out, and I got a hold of glue. I found something cheap. Again, use what you can find. This Gorilla spray. It's good for lots of arts and crafts. If you can't find anything like that, you can always use, it's not my first choice. We could always use a hot glue gun. But again, try to find something that will allow two pieces of foam to glue together. Usually some sort of spray adhesive like that. And so after you cut all these pieces out and you start putting them together, you'll start to get something that looks a lot like that. So as you can see underneath all the textures and stuff I did, you can see the main template kind of poke through. And that is what that's going to end up looking like. And you can see I just wanted to get a head start on the texture of this elbow. So it's the elbow, that's why it looks so spiky. And then you got all this nice texture and detail and stuff. I tried using these little bits and pieces here and there to break up the flow, so it didn't look too like nice. I mean, it's supposed to be a Godzilla, and he's supposed to be like a literally a mutilated dinosaur. Like, this is supposed to represent like the marks that people get after being exposed to hydrogen bombs and, you know, the fallout and radiation and stuff. So it's like, you want it to be nice, but don't. I found there's perfection and imperfection, trying to find, you know, divots and creases and, you know, having everything not flow perfect, and, you know, just getting it kind of, you know, scarred, I guess is a good word for it. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now. My next update, I'll have quite a bit more done, but this will be it for now. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. So I forgot to mention something. After you get these pieces cut out, if you notice, there are little notches that the template, if you're using the same template I am, left. These are so that way you can connect these pieces, all of these pieces, to the right place. I will show you here in just a second what I mean. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. So these lines that I was talking about a minute ago, if you notice, they're specifically made, their marks are there so that way you can squeeze the foam and get these lines to match up. And if you notice, the way that this works is that this whole piece, all these points that were cut out, all match, are supposed to match where, you know, like this is a little bit longer, but in order to have that nice bend it has right here, you're squishing it together and gluing it from tip to line to line, and you're squeezing the foam as you're gluing it. You're squeezing it, you know, I'll have to go over on how I glue it here, probably in the next video. But I just wanted to show you, that's what these lines are for, is you're trying to actually match them up piece to piece, squeezing the foam, getting them to match line to line, and then letting it harden. And then if you notice, I guess I can give you a quick preview on the arm, how it's looking. So that's one of the arms. It's turned out pretty good. Obviously, you can tell some spots I didn't quite glue right, but it's okay. You can always go back and touch up stuff later. But yeah, that's one arm. Something I did. Now, I'm warning you, this is a real pain, but you can use spandex on the joints that move a lot. I had a really tough time with this because, one, trying to use just glue on spandex to get it to stick instead of sewing it to the foam is a real pain, because you're sitting there trying to get your hand in there. Oops. You're trying to get your hand in there and press it down, but of course the spandex is sticky, and so is the foam. And so every time I kept pushing it down to get it to stick, it would come back up because it was sticking to my fingers. So really I had to just let it dry, and I'm pretty sure I'm just going to have to keep doing another coat, because you can see some of this is already coming up. So I'll probably have to do another coat. But anyways, the whole point of that was so that way I could have a little bit of bend in the elbow. See? That nice flex. See, because I had built an arm previously, and I got to the point where the whole thing was completely textured and everything. But I left this one solid piece all the way around. No flexibility or anything. And it was almost impossible to move in. Which, you know, if you're trying to wear a freaking Godzilla suit, you want to move a little, have a little animation. So, animated, be animated, I guess, is a good word for it. But yeah, that's where I got with that. Here's the other arm. See, the texture turned out really nice. I also got that spandex in here too. This one came out a little bit better. The other one I think I need a little bit more glue. But yeah, it's coming out really nice. What I'll do is I'll probably texture these next. I still have a couple days till my foam, my giant piece of foam comes in, and then I can start doing the torso. So I wanted to show you guys again. I know this was in the first video, but I wanted to kind of go over what I did with the prototype, because this whole thing is completely made out of cardboard. Like cardboard, foam, and a lot of, what do you call it? Hot glue. Almost this entire outside is hot glue, because at the time I was trying to be economical, but I realized it was way cheaper and probably way easier instead of gluing each and every individual spine. You see, like every scale I glued on individually. And if you notice, it looks a little dragony. It looks a little too, I guess dragon's good. It looks like dragon scales, and that's not really Godzilla. He's more scarred and whatnot. But the reason I wanted to show you this is because I wanted to show you how I got the eyes. These are just foam little ball, like they're like the ones that you put in like fake planters or whatever. You might see it at like your grandma's house or something. Sometimes they have them at the arts and crafts store, Hobby Lobby, those kind of places. Even Walmart, I think, is where I got these from. There's a bag of them. They're just these kind of foam things. I use those because I'm like, why not? They were cheap. I think like maybe a couple bucks for like a bag of like 6. And then this was all just practice. I really wanted to get just a feel of how it would look. I know in the future I'm going to probably do the teeth differently. It looks like I gave them lips, which I'm probably not going to do again, because I was trying to make these look more like gums. But that's going to be something I have to think about, because the head's to me is going to be one of the hardest parts. Trying to get it to look right, because like, I don't know if you can notice, but it's kind of flat on top, and he's kind of got a really big neck, at least for this prototype. But the only reason I wanted to show you this is because if you notice what I did, I do intend to use these kind of spines though. That's one of my, I like the kind of jaggedy, spiky look. If you notice, it's got a lot of this white stuff on it. When you watch the kaiju video, the Kaiju 101 from Project Nautilus, he recommends that after you get everything the way you want it, to cover the entire outside with a couple of coats of cheap spray glue. So if you notice here, do you see how that's all that spray glue? I did a couple of coats, and what that does is it seals up most of these holes, since foam is very absorbent. It's like it's a sponge, and it seals up the holes to allow you to be able to actually paint it with the latex rubber, which is what happened here. Do you see? Now obviously it's not perfect, because I should have put in a lot more coats, but it worked very well. Oh, that's what I forgot to mention. So after you've sprayed it with the glue, you have to coat the whole outside with a little bit of powder, like baby powder. I can't remember what else he recommended, but I have baby powder on hand because it's easy to get. And then after you do that, it fills all the holes. It gives the silicone rubber liquid latex something to stick to. And so after you do that, then you can use the liquid latex. Even though I used the stuff that's supposed to be white, it turned really black. So I would recommend getting black acrylic paint and also white acrylic paint, or at least whatever color you're going for. And just do some tests with small pieces, just to get the color exactly right, because this looks like it's really light gray when you put it on, but as you can see, it dyed really, really dark, almost black. And if you notice too, this literally was only like 1 or 2 coats, and there's still bits of foam that are poking through. I think some of the videos that I've watched recommend anywhere from 3 to 5 coats of latex, and sometimes even supplementing Plastidip in between each to make sure it doesn't get that eventual, what do they call it? Latex rot, where it just kind of falls apart. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do, is I'll do 1 or 2 coats of latex rubber mixed with acrylic paints, and then, or even just the latex, and then I can paint it later. And then after that, I'll do one or 2 coats of Plastidip, so that way it sets the latex on the bottom. And then what I'll do is I'll do some more of the latex rubber with maybe paint mixed in to give it that last little bit. I'm not sure how to do it yet. I'm still debating on how best to proceed, but yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over this. Like I said, next time you'll see me, I'll probably be more finished with the torso, and then you can kind of get an idea of how big this thing's going to be. I guess if worse comes to worse, I will use this head. I mean, it's not great. It's very heavy. Like, it is, for being just glue and cardboard and foam, it is extremely heavy. Like, I honestly probably need to put wires in it and like strap it around my shoulders to make sure it doesn't fall over, because it's very front heavy. Like, it wants to go forward. But yeah, this is fun. This is what I'm very excited about how this is going to turn out. But yeah, thank you again for tuning in to the Traveling Merchant.